second question read, consider the following pairs, ports and some description of each ports. So we have three ports. First one is Kamarajar Port, first major port in India, registered as a company. Second is Mundra Port, largest privately owned port in India. Third is Visakhapatnam Port, largest container port in India. So how many of the above pairs are correctly matched is the question. So the static part of this question is, it talks about major ports of India. So you should be familiar with major ports of India. This is the wiki page of list of ports in India. You at some stages of your preparation, either while going through the static part or while going through the current affairs, you should have gone through this wiki page and you should be familiar with all the major ports of India. So things you should be familiar is which ministry handles the ports of India, what are the major ports ports of India, what is the definition of major port and what is minor port, and which act controls major port and which act controls minor port, and which are the major largest port, which all ports are private, which are government owned. All those details you should be familiar with. So there are some information in this wiki page. You can go through it, but this is the static part of this question. So but there is also the important thing you have to understand is there is also a dynamic part to this. By dynamic I mean during the prelims preparation phase, which is like after the previous prelims and till the next prelims, that is the prelims preparation time frame. So during that time, multiple newses came connected to these ports. So I have already listed three important news that appeared in the Hindu newspaper, which is relevant to this question. So I will go through the links just now, but I will throughout this analysis, my key point is the most important point I am trying to discuss here is a huge number of questions, more than 70% of questions can be answered just by reading the Hindu newspaper. If you are reading the Hindu newspaper daily and making notes of it, you will be able to answer more than 70% of the questions. I will show you how by going through this paper. So I will just now show you the news is connected to this. So this is, if you see, this is the first news. So if you see the date, it appeared on September 4, 2022. It is connected to Gautam Adani and his growth of business. So here, if you read through this, there is a mention of Mundra Port. It says, today the Mundra Port is India's largest private port, offering shippers the ability to load and unload bulk or containers cargo. So Mundra Port is largest private port. So it is mentioned in the in this news directly. So if you see, our question was Mundra Port, the second statement, largest privately owned port in India. So it is quoting a statement that appeared in Hindu verbatim. So this is the significance of reading newspaper. So this answers the second question, and we will see what the other newses are about. So let me just go to the next news. So it is about Kamarajar Port. So it was also in news in the business section. If you see the date, it appeared on April 2023. There might be other newses also. I have just picked one news connected to this. So in this news, it mentions it is a private limited, Kamarajar Port Limited, and the Chennai Port Authority handles the things connected to this. There is no other information, but my point is, this port was in news, and whenever such things comes, and if you are not very familiar with such things, you should be checking, as I said earlier, you should be checking the wiki page connected to it and see if there is any useful information. So this is a wiki page connected to Kamrajar port. So Kamrajar port, you don't have to go through the entire stuff. You just have to skim read it and see if there is any important details. So in Kamrajar port, it says is the only corporators. It's the 12th major port of India. That is an important information, and the first port in India, which is a public company. So this is the information that they are asking in the question. First major port in India registered as a company. So you get that right in the beginning itself. But there are other useful information also. It says it's the only corporatized corporatized major port and is registered as a company. So any such information can come up as a question in the future. So just go through the things. The port has been able to attract an investment of 26,000 million by private, and all this information is not needed. You can just run through this information and see if there is any important information. So if you see, the managing director of this port is an IAS person. So and you can see the port was declared as a major port under the Indian Ports Act 1908 in March 1999 and incorporated as the Ennore Port Limited under the Companies Act in 1956. This information is important. So if you just run through it, you will get all such important information. So this is my key point. So you could have answered this question if you have visited this wiki page at least once and skimmed read it. So this is the second point, second news. So then we have the third point about Visakhapatnam port, and interestingly, it was also in news. I will just show you 1 second. So if you take Visakhapatnam port, there is a news that came in the Hindu on May 2023. It's very close to prelims, but it was there in the Hindu, which says Visakhapatnam port attains 4th position in cargo handling in India. So it is not the largest port. Even if if you didn't read this news, and if you know if you know which port handles the largest cargo, then you'll indirectly know that Visakhapatnam is not the port which handles the largest cargo. So you can answer that part also. So this is how this is why current affairs becomes important in such prelims questions. So as I have shown, the statement about Mundra port was there in the news. Kamrajar port was mentioned in the news, and you could have answered this statement from the news also about Visakhapatnam port. So second question analysis is this. These are the sources. If you want, I will be sharing this document. You can go through this questions and sources again, and if there is any doubt, you can comment under this video. So that is question 2. Now we will see what is question number 3 talks about.